These Reddit stories are guaranteed to make you feel good about your own life. Hello and welcome to r/Ella. My name is Ella, and today we're going to be reading some insane mother-in-law Reddit stories. Okay, this first one is coming from Trueoffmychest, and it is titled, "My fiancé almost died in a car accident. My mother-in-law told me he cheated on me. My fiancé almost died in a car accident. That's when my mother-in-law told me he cheated on me with an ex. Now he's recovering well. I feel so guilty for wanting to end it. I feel like a horrible person. We are supposed to get married on August 20th in a small ceremony. I've, female 33, been with my fiancé, male 34, for almost 6 years, engaged for 1. The best years of my life. He's brilliant in every way. Or so I thought. The accident happened 6 weeks ago. A drunk driver hit my fiancé. I spent the worst night of my life in the hospital waiting for answers from the doctors, and he went through hours and hours of surgery. His parents and brother were also there waiting. I've always loved his family, and they me. His mum is, in brackets, was, one of my favourite people, and we got along very well. She was happy to have me as her first daughter-in-law. She's religious, and when my fiancé was hovering between life and death, she worried about his sins, so she told me that he cheated on me about 2 months ago with an ex he bumped into. She explained that it was because of the wedding and the stress of planning it. Apparently, I've been both stressed out and stressing him out. He had a weak moment. It was a one-time thing, and he regretted it so much. He asked his parents for advice on what to do, and they told him not to say anything. As long as he was remorseful, and as long as it was me he wanted, he should forget about what he did and move on. His whole family knew. After the hospital, he moved back to his parents' house because we live in a flat without lifts. I visit him every day. I haven't told him that I know, and his family are acting like nothing has changed. They're very happy that he's doing better, and understandably so, and my presence by his side is very helpful according to him and his family. Now both fiancé and his parents are talking about us being able to get married on the day we set, after all. I feel awful because I don't want that. Our relationship was over the moment I found out about the cheating. I stayed because I loved and still do love him, and I wanted him to feel better. I couldn't break his heart while he's recovering. I also thought the wedding was postponed and that I, in brackets we, would have more time for him to recover fully and be strong and independent again so I could leave with clear conscience. I tried to speak to his mum today, but she just started hyperventilating and kept telling me not to do this. She made a mistake by telling me and that I shouldn't take advantage of what she said in desperation to punish him. Take advantage? Okay, wait, pause. How is OP taking advantage? This is probably the worst news that she could have expected to have. And she is just acting on how she feels. She just wants to talk about it. You can't drop a bomb like that and then be like, he's alive now, so we can never talk about it ever again. Like, that's not how life works, and that's not how people work. Obviously, for this mother, sweeping things under the rug is how you deal with things. I shouldn't take advantage of what she said in desperation to punish him and kill his spirit. He's still recovering, and he needs me. I have been thinking since my talk with his mum about everything, and I'm so angry at him. I'm ashamed that even when I was worried about his life, I was very angry and resentful. We were supposed to have our wedding in this beautiful manor house that he found that's all-inclusive, with our most important people. My best friend is a DJ, and my parents paid for the whole thing, even though they're much poorer, so I don't know where all the stress has come from. We fixed everything in a week. I'm so angry, and I've kept bottling it up since the accident. I'm afraid I'm going to explode. I'm just going to say it. The fact that he was in an accident doesn't mean he gets free rein to cheat on you before the accident. You don't owe him anything just because he was in the accident. It was obviously very traumatic for him and his whole family, but that wasn't a decision you made. You didn't make that decision to hurt him. He made that decision not caring if it hurt you and wanting to keep it from you and wanting to go into a marriage with you, knowing that he was harboring that secret. He's a shitty cheater, accident or no accident. What the mother is doing is covering her own ass. Your future mother-in-law is like, my son's gonna kill me that I told you this, so don't say anything. And that's just not how life works. It's not gonna happen. I feel like if you're gonna enter a marriage where someone's cheated, you need like therapy. You can't just carry on without even telling your fiance that you know that they cheated. And also, can I mention the wedding stress thing? Clearly, your fiance was maybe getting cold feet, thought maybe he's supposed to be with some kind of ex, or that he wanted to sow some wild oats, or there was something that I think it was probably to do with the wedding that was like, oh, you know, I'm scared. I don't know if I want to commit myself forever to this person. And then he sleeps with his ex. And it's like, actually, now that I've put my in someone else, now I'm realizing that you're the person that I wanted to be with all along. You're committed. You already decided to commit yourself to me, and you broke that commitment. Why would she marry you? Anyway, I hope that she doesn't stay with him. And we can find out, because there is an update. I told my fiance that I know about his infidelity and cancelled the wedding. Woo! He still wants a second chance. I have written here 3 days ago before I talked to my fiance. This is after I told him I know that he's cheating. I started by telling my parents, who are paying for the wedding, about what happened and told them that I'm cancelling the wedding. Hopefully they can get back some of the money that they paid via their home insurance. I gotta be honest, I don't know how they're gonna get money back from the wedding from home insurance, but okay. I told them that I'm gonna pay the rest of the damages. My dad refused. I insisted. It's not up to them. Since my fiance still lives with his parents, I felt that I would be outnumbered if I went alone to end it. Text or call wasn't an option since he meant a lot more to me than that. And I really wanted to see his face and ask, what the fuck? I also wanted to see him hurt. I don't want it to be comfortable for him. Cheaters must see the hurt they cause and hopefully learn from it. I took my mum with me. When I told him that the wedding was off and the reason why, he started crying. He told me all the things that they say in desperation. He was foolish, he didn't think, he was stressed out, he was scared. It meant nothing. He regretted it. He didn't want to tell me because it meant nothing and he didn't want to hurt me. I should give him a chance to prove himself and his loyalty. He can ask his parents to pay for the wedding. We can postpone the wedding indefinitely. I can take the apartment and he will live with his parents, as long as it takes it for me to forgive him. I haven't cried so much as I did when I was listening to his bullshit and afterwards on the way home. How could he do this to me? He didn't give me a satisfying answer to why he did this to me. To us. I have cried myself to sleep every night since the accident, and yet I cried like I've just found out. I'm going to stay in the apartment that we bought together, and he will stay with his parents. Prices have gone down these past couple of months, and we both agreed that we don't want to sell for less than we paid. But the moment it goes up again, we're selling. I have started packing his things, and tomorrow I'm renting a van to move his things to his parents' house. Sorting out his stuff and packing his clothes made it real for me. I didn't expect it to be so emotional. Why do I still love him so much? He has been texting me and he has called me twice. I know, sweetie. I think that's the hardest thing when people cheat. When you realize that someone isn't who you thought they were, you still love the version of them that you knew. Even if you don't feel like that version of them was real or exists anymore, you still mourn that version of them that you shared so many memories with. In this world, it's so easy to feel alone. And I think when you meet someone who you connect with, who you feel like really sees you and you them, you don't ever want to let that go. And then when they do something that makes you realize that you never even had that in the first place, it's soul crushing. And then you have to kind of go no contact and isolate that person out of your life. And in a way you have to isolate yourself. But it's the only thing you can do for self-worth, because somebody took that love that you had for them and they crushed you, and they knew what they were doing when they did it, and they assumed that you love them so much and yourself so little that you would stick around for that. And they will miss you and they will be just as hurt as you. But that's their karma, and you will get over it, sweetie. He has been texting me and he has called me twice, and we talked about mostly mundane stuff. but also about us and our relationship. His mum has called me to say that she felt guilty for first not advising him to come clean, but even for later divulging his secret to me without his permission. She was disappointed that I took advantage of her moment of panic, but that she understands that I'm hurt. Okay, wait. I don't mean to interject again, but what do you mean take advantage of her moment of panic? Lady, this mother-in-law is deluded. You did that off your own back. You came clean and said about what he did off your own back. She can't push you to tell her because she didn't know there was any secret to be divulged. So how could she have taken advantage of you? How could she make you say that when she doesn't even know there's anything to be said? She said he will do his best to win me back. I'm a bit irritated about the fact that none of them, including my parents, believe that it's really over, and I don't have the energy to prove my point either. I just need some alone time now, and some peace and quiet. Okay, I think this is extremely painful and probably humiliating for OP, but let's just be grateful for OP that she dodged the bullet of entering a marriage where your entire in-laws and your husband think it's okay to hide infidelity from you. It's heartbreaking at the moment, but just be grateful that you didn't marry this man, and that's off your own strength and off your own back and your own self-worth, that you did not stay in that situation. And I need to talk about that mother-in-law. She did not come clean about this because she felt bad or guilty or because she's a religious woman that can't live with the sin in her. No, she's trying to rid her son of sin before he, croaks. She's telling you before he's gone so that you can live with that knowledge forever with no end to it because he's gone. But once she realizes that he wasn't gonna croak, that's when she wants to take it back. So actually she wants to give you no power in that situation. She wants to take all of your power away in that situation. She was only telling you for purely selfish reasons for her son. She doesn't care about you at all. Let's move on to the next mother-in-law who spilled a secret, and you tell me whether you think this secret was worse than the last. My mother-in-law decided to gossip with my daughter about my marriage, blowing a giant hole in my life. This was also posted from Trueoffmychest. My wife cheated on me nearly 10 years ago. I won't get into the specifics as they're unimportant, but due to the fact that I saw blame in both our parts, I forgave her and we moved past it. My daughter is 16 years old and she only just found out from my mother-in-law, who seems to have decided she was old enough to hear the family gossip and that she would be mature enough not to confront her. Initially, my wife thought that I had told her and come into my office where I had been to ask me what the hell I was thinking and if I was trying to destroy their relationship. She and my daughter have been strained for a couple of years now, lots of arguing on both sides. She refused to believe that I hadn't said anything at first until my daughter entered the room and joined in on the screaming and said that I was too weak and that her own mother had sold her out. The fighting went on a long time, and honestly, I may as well have not even been there for all the good I did. I tried to step between them when I was concerned, but that only ended with some ringing in my ear. Eventually, my wife left to cool off and my daughter and I could speak. She wasn't happy with me either and didn't hesitate to tell me so. But she wasn't screaming or throwing shit anymore, so I just let her get it out. She asked me why I stayed, and I was honest, that I was not a perfect husband and that I decided not to end my marriage, break up our home, and destroy her childhood for something that I held blame in. The entire time I was speaking, she just kept watching me with this sad face that made me uncomfortable. But when I finished, she shook her head and said that I needed to leave my wife and that the cheating wasn't the only issue. She started bringing up every insignificant flaw my wife has. She brought up my wife getting angry at me because I put too much creamer in her coffee, for example. Just trivial crap. I told her as much, but she kept shaking her head. It ended up turning into an argument where she insisted I was some kind of victim and making some kind of gateway plan. I kept trying to talk her down, but that was going nowhere. I first tried my wife, but phone cell went straight to voicemail. So I called my mother-in-law to inform her of the situation. But my wife had already made it there and planned to stay overnight to calm down because she didn't want to see either of our faces. It's been a few days now and I still haven't seen her or heard from her, but her mother informs me she's okay, just very emotional. So I'm also scared for my wife. She has had mental health problems before, and if she's going through that again, I should be there to help. And then we just have an edit. I'm just feeling defeated and tired. I've done everything I can to help this family float, and somehow I'm still failing. It's beginning to feel like I always do at everything and always will fail at everything as long as I live. Okay. Out of all of that, the thing that's sticking out to me the most right now is, why has your wife gone to stay with her mum when her mum is the one who gossiped about her to your daughter? That's giving strange relationship, right? She's like, I can't see any of your faces right now. I'm going to stay with my mum who caused this problem. That doesn't make any sense to me. I need more context there. I need to know what's going on there. That sounds like a weird relationship. And why is your mother-in-law on a random Tuesday? Like, I'm bored. I'm just gonna stare at some huge drama in my daughter's life. I don't know, maybe the mother-in-law, maybe the daughter's right. Maybe your wife isn't a great person and maybe the mother-in-law can see that and that's why she's gossiping. Or maybe she's just bored. I don't know. The ending was very ominous. What do you mean you fail at everything all the time? That's a hopeless feeling. You're worried about your wife's mental health. I'm worried about your mental health. Let's dive into some of these comments. Top comment. Mother-in-law is completely in the wrong. It's no one's business to fill daughter in on family gossip. That includes her parents. And the second comment down says, I'm sure some of this is normal teenage rebellion crap. I don't know. I hear a lot of teenage rebellion crap, you know? I never want to talk to you again, mom. I hate you, dad. That kind of stuff. I feel like teenagers do rebel. I guess you could say rebelled as a teenager, maybe dated people a little bit too much older, got into some situations I shouldn't have, drank alcohol, you know, when I did the things. But I never really had that kind of, I hate my mum, I hate my dad. Never. But my parents gave me so much space to make mistakes as a teenager. So maybe that's what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like my dad would pick me up drunk. And it's not like encouraging. It's more just like, hey, if you're unsafe, if you're in a bad situation, we're always here to come get you. They never encouraged, you know what I mean? They never bought me alcohol or did that kind of thing. But they were like, hey, you're not in trouble. You are. I had my phone taken off me and was like grounded and stuff. But we love you no matter what. You will have consequences to your actions, but at the end of the day, we'll always be here. I've gone off on a tangent. My point is, I think that if you're constantly butting heads with your parents this harshly, perhaps some of it does fall down to your parents. Perhaps. I don't have kids. I never was in that situation, so I don't know. But I feel like if you're at a point where you're constantly butting heads and your mum is saying, I cannot be in the same room as her, I cannot look at her, because your daughter found out that you did something 10 years ago. And now instead of coming to her as a parent and having a civil conversation and saying, look, this did happen. It was terrible. I feel bad. Me and your dad have chosen to get through it. It was circumstance. You know what I mean? Giving her something instead of just like blowing up at her blowing up at you, and then you leaving and then being like, I just can't look at your face right now. I'm just gonna go chill with my mum, the one who caused the drama. Like, as a kid, I think I would look at that and be like, screw you. I don't want anything to do with you either then. And yeah, my dad should leave you. You suck. Like, I feel the mum is acting a little bit too immature and not neutralizing the situation. Okay. Oh, I didn't read that full comment. However, your wife got angry about too much creamer in the coffee. You say trivial, but how often does wife get overly sensitive about trivial stuff? There is a point where it becomes you managing your wife's emotional outbursts instead of your wife working on her own issues. Does daughter have a point at all? OP. I 120% agree. I'm slightly in shock that my wife is mad at me and our daughter, but somehow not too angry to stay in the house of the person who told her. I don't know. That part has been messing me up a lot, I think. My daughter has definitely been going through some teenage rebellion stuff, which I haven't minded. It's introduced me to a lot of new music when she's mad. But my wife has had some issue with it because she's scared as my daughter gets older, she'll regret all the crazy hair or odd clothes. I've been trying to help her with that because I was a little teenage dirtbag myself, and my daughter is a good kid. No real trouble other than being a smart ass sometimes. To the rest, I don't know. My wife is temperamental, but she's not violent. I mean, she gets mad easy. She gets over it pretty fast though. Like she yelled about the coffee thing, dumped it out, and got a new cup, and it never come up again. I honestly forgot about it until my daughter brought it up. It really wasn't a big deal. Oh, it's just a messed up situation. I feel like if she did cheat a decade ago, and they have gotten through that, I don't really have much hate for the wife for that. They've gotten through it. It was something that happened. They both know about it. They both chose to move on. But when you're a kid and you find out that your parents' happy relationship has something that feels so big, like cheating is a big thing. But as a teenager, finding out that your mum cheated on your dad, it cuts into the fabric of your reality when you realize that your foundation isn't what you've always believed it to be. It can mess with her head and make her have so much distrust in relationships in general. There are loads of comments from OP. I'm not going to read them all because I would be here literally all day. So I'm just going to scroll down to update. Okay. 13 months later. Okay. This update is coming from May 2025. It's been a while. I probably will regret posting this as much as I did the first time, though for different reasons. Before I begin, I want to thank all the kind people who reached out with genuine advice and with whom I had lovely conversations. I appreciate you more than I can say. Checking my history, I saw that I never updated after the conversation with my daughter about her situation with my wife. We talked and it went worse than I expected, but better than most of the comments. She never hit my daughter or threatened her. My daughter did bring up yelling and I listened, though she said she was never really afraid of her mother. But she started to hate her when she noticed how she treated me, hence the change in appearance and rebelling. She liked it that I stood up for her when it came to her new style, because then I was standing up for something. That makes me laugh a bit now, but at the time I was confused. She talked a long time and she said she thought maybe she could get over the resentment she had for her mother if she didn't have to see the way that she treats me. I didn't much like that at the time, and I admit I argued that I was an adult and that she didn't have to fight her fights for me. My daughter said something like, "If I don't, who will?" And I just kind of stopped in my tracks, because my only answer was, sometimes you have to pick your battles. Sounds weak when you pick none of them. I still intended to try to work on my marriage despite the comments. I really hoped to turn things around because of their previous relationship, and frankly, how much I still loved my then wife. But then she didn't come home for weeks. I don't know if it was my daughter's needling or the fact that I could tell that she was upset at being abandoned by her mother at the first sign of trouble. But one day, I eventually reached out and asked my ex-mother-in-law when my wife was going to be coming home and act like an adult, and was told she was looking into divorce attorneys, and that if I wanted her back, I should really work on getting my daughter to apologize. Hold up a minute. So you are dangling this man's marriage as a way to coerce him into emotionally manipulating your daughter to saying sorry to you when you are not grown up enough to even face her. Okay? It all felt so manipulative, and I just got so angry. I just hung up and spoke to my own lawyer. After being served, she tried to come back and cried that it was her mental health, but I was still so angry, I just shut her down and told her to leave. Divorce was finalized a while ago. My daughter stays with me most of the time, since her mother moved out of state afterward, and she wants to go to college in the area when the time comes, but visits mother-in-law and speaks to her mother on the phone sometimes. As much as I hate to admit it, their relationship is improving since the divorce. I don't hate my ex-wife, even if many, including my daughter, categorize her as abusive. She's the first woman I ever really clicked with in that way, and though I don't love her anymore, probably the last. I don't mind it so much. I have a full life without her around, and a quieter one as well. But anyway, thank you all again for listening, and I am bracing for I told you so's. I don't blame you. You did. The way that OP's wife treats her own daughter like she's disposable, it truly shows what she wanted her daughter for. It seems to me that as soon as her daughter was grown, making decisions about her own hair, her own outfits, her own music taste, becoming her own person, even if it is an act of rebellion, becoming her own person, then her mum's not interested in her anymore. Her mum doesn't like her anymore. Probably her mum only liked her for the love that she had to give. And once she was questioning her mother, once she wasn't happy with something her mum did, then her mum's fine to just get rid and never talk again. I'll just go away for weeks and weeks. You can be upset and feel abandoned. I'm going to pull myself out of this situation. I honestly think that she's part of her pulling herself out of the situation was punishing her daughter for daring to have thoughts and feelings about her. But I'm glad that they have a semi-okay relationship now, and that she has her dad to lean on, and that her dad's living a better life. And the mother-in-law, I can't tell whether she's the villain or the hero of the story, to be honest. I can't tell. It's a little bit iconic. It's terrible. But to be like, did you hear the goss? Your mum cheated on your dad 10 years ago? It's so stupid. I mean, if you really deep it, you want to know where those intentions are coming from, and that's a horrible thing to do and to tell a child. It really is. But like when you just think about it surface level, it is kind of funny. What? That's ridiculous. Anyway, okay. Let's move on. Okay, we have one more story, but two options. Option one, again coming from Trueoffmychest, it is titled, Me, 28 female, with my husband, 30 male, and friends with benefits, 25 male. His mother found out and threatened to tell people. Then we also have, mother-in-law DNA tested my daughter without our consent and proved she isn't my husband's. Which one do you want to pick? I think I'm going to go with the second one. Because I just need to know. So sorry to disappoint anyone who wanted the first one. This one's also coming from Trueoffmychest, and it is titled, Mother-in-law DNA tested my daughter without our consent and proved she isn't my husband's. I'm so angry, I don't know what to do now that I have confirmation. She is dead to me. Just confirmed my daughter isn't my husband's, and I'm devastated. A couple of months ago, my mother-in-law unknowingly DNA tested our daughter because she didn't believe she was my husband's. To make a long story short, the time of conception of my daughter, I was SA'd during a home invasion. This was after several years of trying for a baby. I took EC at the hospital and was depressed and stressed afterwards. Didn't realise I was pregnant until I was 15 weeks. My husband and I decided, regardless, we were going to keep the baby. After she was born, we decided we didn't want to find out. I felt like knowing absolutely that she wasn't my husband's would change how she was treated. My husband's family didn't know her paternity was in question, and they didn't know I was SA'd. Well, a couple of months ago, my mother-in-law invited my husband and I out to dinner. She blindsided both of us by handing us envelopes with DNA results in them, and basically says she always knew I was a liar and a cheater, and she's trying to tell my husband to leave with her. My husband was devastated when he realised our daughter isn't his. I've never seen him look more hurt. We had planned to tell my daughter when she was older that there was a question of paternity and allow her to DNA test if she wished. But instead, I had to tell my 17-year-old the whole story of how I was assaulted and what her grandma did. We didn't really know how my mother-in-law did the DNA test, so we decided to get another test done. I got the confirmation this morning that my daughter and my husband have zero biological relationship. I'm so angry and pissed. We always knew that there was a possibility, but I didn't think for a second that it could happen. She looks so much like her siblings and me. Thank God she has no resemblance to that artist. I immediately made her start seeing her therapist more regularly, and she seems to be doing rather well despite everything, thankfully. What is it with these mother-in-laws and thinking that it's their business to poke around in? Whether it's outing their own daughters or standing by their sons when their sons never asked for that. Clearly OP's mother-in-law had some resentments anyway. It's giving boy mum. It's giving no one's good enough for my son. Like, why did you assume this of her to begin with? But the fact that she's like, I knew you're a dirty, rotten liar from the very beginning. She had an opinion on OP to begin with, and she was using this as her aha moment, like it wasn't going to destroy her son's whole family. If OP was cheating. Like, what a way to come forward with that. I'm going to break everyone for lunch, and I'm going to bring the envelope with me, and I'm just going to, bam, you are not the father. Like, are you kidding? Can't you like bring your son aside and be like, listen, I think you should do a DNA test. I have some concerns. I'm not sure that your daughter's yours. Don't take that choice away from him. Like, maybe something's gone on that you don't know about. Or maybe he doesn't want to take a paternity test for whatever reason. Like, maybe he's just like, I don't want to know. Maybe she did cheat on me. Maybe she didn't. I don't want to know. We're not in that space anymore. It's been 17 years. Whatever reason he might have, or he might go, yeah, ma, actually, I've been thinking that as well. Thanks for giving me the confidence. I'm going to go take a paternity test. The fact that she took the paternity test secretly and then took everybody out for dinner, like she wants to soak in the drama. She doesn't actually care so much about her son, or she wouldn't have done it like that. At least she even if she was going to be so crazy as to take the paternity test, scary, by the way, that they don't know how it was taken. But if she was going to be so insane to take that paternity test without anyone knowing, at least tell your son on his own. Why are you taking everybody out for dinner? It's giving, I want to see how things go down. I want to see how things play out. I want to see her face when I say it. I'm going to take that away from my son. I'm not going to tell him and allow him to be the one to confront his wife. I want that moment. Good little mother-in-law you've locked yourself in with there, love. Jesus. Okay, are you ready? Okay, are you ready for this update? Are you ready for this update? I don't even know what can be updated at this point. First, thank you all for your support, and a big F off to all the creeps and a-holes. To answer the most common questions, yes, we are no contact with mother-in-law. I haven't talked to her since the dinner, and my husband hasn't spoken to her since a couple of days after that. Oh, I hope that he read her to filth in those couple of days. I hope that he told her where to go and what to know. Also, no, I'm not going to say that, that's bad. She knows I was R-worded and attempted to apologise to my husband when he last spoke to her, but he basically told her to F off and he couldn't forgive her. We also had a good relationship up until this point, or so I thought. We hung out and did stuff together. It was just really hurtful that she told me at dinner when I asked what the envelope was, that it's proof that you're the trash I always knew you were. And the fact that someone commented, this is now on TikTok. I don't want a single person to know mine or my family's true identity and try out my daughter's biology to my R-wordist or his family. If my daughter desires to do that in the future, I want the decision to be wholly hers, and not to have another decision about her future to be made for her against her will. I'll suffice it to say that he is in prison for life without parole, and I am not the only person he did this to, and he also took the life of at least one other victim. There are very few articles about this trial because it was a closed trial, and although none of the victims interviewed or are mentioned by name, they do use initials. There is also a slew of other charges he had brought against him as well. People want to know why or how I could have kept a baby knowing the possibility of the R-wordist being the father, and the answer is that even if I would have known definitely who the father was, my decision probably wouldn't have been different. She is as much a part of me biologically speaking as she is him, and after seeing her move around, I didn't desire to abort. Although it would have been nearly impossible for me to get one anyway where I live. Although she was conceived in violence, she was raised in love and understanding and acceptance. She is much more mine and my husband's than my R-wordist's. Although he was a contribute to her DNA, nothing else. He had no major influence or part in her life and likely never will. I know DNA doesn't mean anything in the sense of who she is, but that doesn't diminish the devastation and anger I feel knowing he is responsible for any part of her. I'm honestly not sure why me and my husband were so blindsided, but I feel like you can convince yourself of anything given the right circumstances. Initially, we did feel it was likely the R-wordist because of the year that we went without conceiving. But I got pregnant with my son pretty soon after my daughter. I know I convinced myself that not only was it a possibility, it was the only likely scenario. It's also not lost on me that the decision to keep her isn't something many people agree with, according to this post apparently. But I know I made the right decision, because my daughter is the most amazing girl and I couldn't imagine my life without her. My daughter is doing well and her relationship with myself and my husband hasn't changed at all. If anything, her relationship with my husband is much better. She makes an effort to spend more time with him and they have many shared interests. My daughter said she isn't upset I didn't tell her. My daughter said she isn't upset that I didn't tell her. She's upset that she had to find out when she wasn't truly ready. And she's happy that I was able to share such a vulnerable and horrible event with her. My son now knows the specifics and my youngest knows my daughter has a different dad, but not about the essay. Oh no. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel like you should tell both of those pieces of information together. I know your youngest might be too young to know about the essay, but actually what you're doing is turning their world upside down now a little bit, where they're like, oh, mum was with someone else and had a child with someone else, and I didn't know about that. And then when they're older again, it's going to be like, oh, mum was essayed. And that's who you know what I mean? It would be two big blocks of information that you're chucking on your child and spinning their world upside down twice. Why not just tell them both at the same time, just when the child's older? Anyway, that's just my opinion. Sorry that this was a rant. I didn't go into a lot of specifics like I did with my initial post. Oh. Okay, so that update was more like clarifying information, which I appreciate. I like to know a little bit that her kids have found out now, and that we are no contact with mother-in-law, as I would have expected, because what she did was completely unhinged. Completely unhinged. But other than that, that's the end of the story and the end of this episode. It was lovely to see you. I am here for you every day from Tuesday to Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Look for me. I'm here. I'll see you there. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Did I just say thank you? Well, thank you for watching and being here.